A new day had dawned, and I was ready to continue my quest. My next challenge was to solo Vagash, but first I had a few tasks to attend to. I headed to turn in the Relics of Awakening, but was unsure of which quest reward to take.
Well done.
I decided to turn in some other quests first in order to see if I could afford to train both throwing weapons and staves. I also had to consider whether or not to train class skills as I accepted my level 10 class quest. Silver coins had been very scarce on my journey so far. I weighed my options while I gathered some fell cones to feed to the satyr Zen Falhoof. Apparently the Night Elves had not taken kindly to my wanton destruction of the local wildlife and wanted me to punish the satyr in order to restore my own reputation.
Just in time.
After some thought, I decided that an uncommonly strong two-hander was too important to pass up, and I acquired my first green weapon before feeding some poison to Zen Falhoof. As I headed to Darnassus for some weapon training, I put my first talent point into the Fury Tree. I plan to specialize into Piercing Howl for survivability before respeccing to Sweeping Strikes for an easier time taking on multiple opponents.
How may I help?
I arrived at the weapon trainer, and it was time for me to cough up 20 silver.
Be careful.
Throwing weapons would be required for soloing Vagash, and I wanted to train staves so that I could equip my new Gritroot staff. I also progressed my class quest and learned how to make stronger bandages. The Night Elves wanted me to find and slay the satyr Vorlus Vilehoof in order to prove my strength. I located their secret moonwell and took a warm-up swing against an unsuspecting critter before forcibly removing the satyr from their moonwell.
Die!
Don't worry, the critter did not go to waste. While I was deep in the forests of Teldrassil, I took the opportunity to gather some strange fruits and fronds that I thought the local herbalist might find interesting. Denaland planted these weird plants into his planter box to wild results. The boggling roots were not that interesting to me, but I was eagerly looking forward to the sprouted frond which, while limited in resource, acted as a second healing potion on a separate timer. I headed back to Darnassus, where I handed the Horn of the Satyr to Elinaria, and in return she taught me how to fight in a more defensive stance.
It is good to know Vorlus.
Before leaving the capital, I made sure to train my gathering skills to a higher proficiency. I stopped by the male armor merchant to make a small upgrade as well. It was time for me to travel back to my homeland in order to attempt my next challenge quest. I took a flight on a hippogriff back to Darkshore where Gubber Blump would finally teach me fishing for free. I took the boat from Darkshore back to Dwarven Lands. I arrived in the wetlands and was ready to fly over the mountain before I encountered a small snag. Oh my god, I don't have enough money, dude. I don't have enough money to do my quest, and I can't grind forever because I have to finish the quest before I level up. Oh my god, that's so funny, dude. I sold some consumable items I could bear to part with in order to afford my fare, but at the same time realized I still needed to purchase throwing daggers in order to be able to even fight the boss. I purchased a pricey ticket back to Ironforge where I found the general goods vendor but couldn't seem to locate any weapons I could use. I left immediately and headed out to Keranos where I was able to find some usable projectiles. General supplies of this. Ah, yes. Okay, thank God. With all my preparations complete, I was ready to solo Vagash.
We heard
I
the
picked up
cries
my
in the
next
middle of the
achievement
night.
quest and began
Then the
practicing kiting mobs around a grouping of trees. I was comfortable with my strategy and confident in my abilities. I headed up to Vagash's lair but stopped on the way to refresh my memory by watching a guide. I almost wish I hadn't though, because what I found was a different strategy that completely trivialized the encounter. Thanks, man. I'll cast the big ol' spirit bomb. Probably just do this, right? There we go. That's it, GG. As long as I, well, you know, I'm superstitious, so I won't even say it. I continued to easily fence kite Vagash until he went down. Alright, it wasn't even hard. I turned in my achievement quest and I received a powerful new hammer that I could not afford to learn how to wield. Easy. Easy clap. My next challenge would take me to Elwyn Forest, located in the Human Kingdoms. I made my way back to Ironforge and headed into the Deep Run tram. While waiting for the tram, I decided to train up on defense. Another passenger had the same idea, and together we shared in a kinky little rat pain party. My tram arrived, and after a short ride, I had finally made it to Stormwind, the human capital city. I familiarized myself with the city by grabbing the flight path and finding the bank. I couldn't bear to vendor my Coldridge hammer, so I put it away until I could afford more weapon training. I headed out of the city into the nearby town of Goldshire. This would be my last stop before attempting my next challenge quest, but first I wanted to run one errand. Completing this quest for Remy 2 times would reward me with one of the most powerful consumable items in the game, the Bag of Marbles. All I had to do was rout some kobolds from the local mine and collect some gold dust along my way. I headed over to the nearby Fargo Deep Mine and found that the mobs here were of a much lower level than me, and so I had a very easy time clearing them. Down in the mine, I made a miraculous discovery. Oh, a bag! Oh my god! A bag! My first bag. I'm level 11. 6 hours, 30 minutes, 57 seconds played. The only trouble I faced was a fight with the rare mob Narg the Taskmaster. I headed back to town and prepared for my showdown with Hogger. I traveled over to Westbrook, and in front of the garrison I grabbed my next challenge quest from a wanted sign and headed south to the nearby Gnoll encampment. I cleared out some stray units and did one practice kite before aggroing Hogger. This fight was still pretty easy, but it was much more involved than the fight with Vagash. I killed Hogger and looted his paw before heading back to Marshal Dugan. I completed my 3rd achievement and equipped some new male pants that were a significant upgrade.
Thanks. That Gnoll was giving me a headache the size of Blackrock's spire.
My next achievement quest was to defeat the infamous Benny Blaanco. He is a horribly powerful foe who has ended many hardcore runs, so I wanted to get a bit stronger before my next challenge. I honed my fighting skills on some wolves and bears that were crowding the Eastvale lumber camp and was rewarded with some powerful new healing potions for my trouble. It was at this point that I had to be honest with myself, though. I was dissatisfied with my kill on Vagash. I had prepared a strategy, and I wanted to utilize it. Benny could wait. I made the long trek back to Dunmow and started round 2 versus Vagash. I was interrupted by these cute little gnomes who did a great job of helping me, but I didn't want their help. I wanted to do it alone, the hard way. We'll get there. Kind of playing poorly. Hey, something to be proud of. With my own feeling of not good enough sated, I headed back to Ironforge, but found a lovely surprise along the way. Oh, another bag. I have 4 bags. Since it was already up north in the homeland, I decided to do a bit of preparation before my showdown with Benny. I wanted to have the option of using a shield in my upcoming fight. In Ironforge, I accepted my level 10 warrior weapon quest and pondered whether or not to train class skills and or to train some weapons. 10 silver. Fuck. I learned how to overpower a nimble foe and trained maces so I could equip my reward for killing Vagash. My warrior trainer wanted me to recover a special kind of missing ore from the Dark Iron Dwarves in the southeast of the zone. I accomplished this feat with little trouble. Instead of heading back to Ironforge, however, I continued east into the neighboring zone of RockBottomBrenny where I could find a quest to earn an uncommonly strong shield. On my way, I accepted a pre-quest for a future challenge quest, and I traveled to the dwarven outpost of Thelsamar. I found the flight path and continued north to Algaz Station, where I located Mountaineer Stormpike. He wanted me to recover some lost mining gear from the Silverstream mine to the east, which was overrun by, you guessed it, kobolds. This cave was much scarier than the last one I had encountered. Truth be told, I haven't quested in RockBottomBrenny in about 10 years, and I didn't remember anything about this area. All I knew was that the cave was a hotspot for deaths. As I arrived at the mine, I discovered that the kobold vermin posed little threat, but that the geomancers were a foe to take seriously. A double poe of geomancers would certainly be cause to retreat. I gingerly made my way deeper into the cave and began to loot the required miner's gear. I hoped to be able to camp the cave entrance and loot respawns, but after several minutes of waiting, none had appeared. I cleared some more kobolds and ventured yet further into the mine. I noticed my experience bar was getting kind of full, and I began to worry that I was earning too much experience before my fight with Benny. I had to complete this challenge quest at this level before leveling up. I began a sprint deep enough into the mine to loot the remaining quest items and made a mad dash to safety. I returned the missing gear and acquired the Iron Plate Buckler, an uncommonly durable shield. By now my experience bar was getting very full. I took a flight on a griffin from Thelsamar to Ironforge and turned in the Umbral ore to Tormus Deepforge, who crafted for me the Umbral Axe. At this point my experience bar was dangerously full. I had just enough leeway to attempt my fight with Benny Blaanco and no room for anything else. I headed back to Stormwind to make some final preparations. While on my way, I killed many rats with my new axe until I felt proficient with the weapon. In Stormwind, I purchased a stronger set of throwing knives and upgraded several pieces of armor. I was taking this fight very seriously, so I dropped skinning to train in alchemy. I only made a couple of potions though, as the plan was to drop alchemy and retrain skinning. This proved to be a waste of time, and I should have just committed and leaned harder into going alchemy. With my preparations complete, I headed past the Westbrook garrison and the Gnoll encampments and entered into the zone of Westfall. I accepted my next achievement quest from Farmer Furlbrow. He needed me to retrieve his pocket watch from his farmhouse, which was being terrorized by Benny Blaanco and the Defias traders. I scouted around the northern edge of the zone, trying to avoid gaining experience by discovering areas of interest, but the path was too sketchy, and I made my way to Farmer Furlbrow's pumpkin farm while avoiding killing any mobs. The first thing I did was mark the patrols that walked near my planned route. I cleared my path of mobs and set up my first attempt versus Benny. Benny has one additional mob that comes with him. It is either a Defias Smuggler, which is a ranged mob, or a Defias Trapper, which is a melee mob that nets. To be honest, I don't know what to do against the Trapper yet, but I won the coin flip, and the ad that was present was a Smuggler, which is what I had prepared for. I planned to kill the Smuggler in a ranged versus ranged throwing fight from a safe spot, and then kite Benny separately. Oh no! But what I didn't know was that Benny and his friend were special linked mobs, and that I would have to deal with them together. This complicated things. Now my only option was to kite both mobs at the same time. With my experience bar so close to full, I locked in mentally for a harder challenge than I had prepared for, and I made my second pull. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. 1, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have to hamstring this mob now. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I am dazed. Oh, fucking Christ. I am embarrassed to admit that I fat-fingered it and fell off immediately. I went for a third attempt, but took too many sloppy hits from Benny, and I made a harrowing escape. Damn it, I can't take hits like that. That guy nets. This might be it for your boy. 1. By this time, I had to deal with respawn. The clock was ticking as soon I would be forced to level up by killing respawn and thus failing this challenge. After clearing out the respawns, I made a few more attempts, but something weird was happening. Something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. Why is my character walking forward? I was too flustered to play clean, and I was accidentally hitting my auto-run input, middle mouse click, when I was mashing my throw input, mouse wheel up. With my keybind issue corrected, I made another attempt. I was feeling a bit more comfortable with the strategy by this point, and I also had a feeling like this might be my final attempt. I got into position, but I made a new mistake and I aggroed a third mob from underneath. I had to bail. Oh, well, that's it for me, GG. Okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And with that respawn, I feared my window for success had closed. I did some quick maths, and I accepted my fate. Yeah, I failed Benny. I took my frustrations out on a nearby coyote and dinged to hammer it home that I had failed my achievement, and that it was now time for me to move on. Ah well, GG. I couldn't move on though. I had to solve this puzzle. I leveled my alchemy in earnest this time and learned how to brew a troll's blood potion which would provide invaluable combat regeneration in my prolonged kiting. I made a few more attempts, but this is the one that I want to show you. I had learned from my mistakes, and this time I made sure to target the ranged mob first. I didn't need to worry about Benny since he was already being kited. I liberally consumed healing items just to stay safe. I also made sure to equip my shield this time. The ad began to run in fear, and I had to switch focus to Benny to maintain the leash. I killed the ad and did a little stutter step to keep the leash fresh on Benny. Benny ran, and I gave chase. Benny went down, but my quest was not over. I still had to loot the item before he respawned. Let's go. I marched proudly back to Farmer Furlbrow and handed him his pocket watch. I had completed the achievement quest, even if I had finished after the buzzer.
My watch. Thank you so much, kind sir. We are but poor farmers and we have lost our land, but please accept this reward as a token of our appreciation.
This is where it would show you the Benny Blaanco achievement if I had routed better. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but we had a wonderful time soloing Vagash and soloing Hogger. So I would call that a success. We figured out how to do the kiting strat. I haven't seen that anywhere. I made that up, so hope you thought that was cool. Thanks for tuning in. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please consider following on Twitch and subscribing on YouTube. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!